Sorry, just starting the recording.
I think sometimes it's difficult to maintain the relationship with people.
Right.
You should spend much time and energy, on it. I'm not good at it.
Well, do you think maybe could it be different by like different professions, different jobs? It might be more important than other jobs.
Yeah, that's definitely the case, because for me as a software engineer, I do not really truly agree about this, because it's not, maybe if you have some connections, it's count, and maybe you could get into the big company like the Big Four, Facebook, Google. But if you really don't have the ability to stay there, it's definitely you are going to be fired very soon. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I think that's probably an important distinction. I think jobs where there's a measurable kind of hard skill, it does really matter what you know. But a lot of jobs are just, admin or management or whatever, and it's a lot harder to assess. It's a lot harder to judge somebody's effectiveness in many ways. And if we look at this list here, I mean, what about something like politics?
Well, relationship is very, very important.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think maybe we could say the skill of politics, the knowledge of politics is actually the skill of using relationships more than anything else.
Yes.
And probably the media related jobs as well. What about the civil service, any kind of government related civil service jobs? You think it's important who you know?
Depending on what you're doing, I think that's still the case, because if you're telecom, our telecom system is once civil service, more like that.公务员, civil, how do I say that?
Yeah, just civil service is fine. Or do you mean like a state-owned company?
Civil servant. Our telecom is once a civil servant. So I think that if you're working at the bottom, you need to have some hard skill. But while you are on the management, the connection is more important. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Sorry, I'm just opening another file here. Okay. All right, fair enough. So we're really talking about networking here when we talk about what you know. And I don't want to go through all of these, but maybe talk about a couple of these a little bit. So for you, I mean, what's your opinion on networking? Is networking mainly just socializing with your colleagues and friends? Is that what networking means to you, or?
I disagree.
Okay. But is this something for what you guys do? I mean, James, you talked about being a programmer, what that means, but for you guys in Hong Kong, do you do any networking as part of your job? Do you have contacts outside of your company in the industry or related industries?
For me, that's not the case. Yeah, because my role is more like maintaining and developing software engineering. So we need to read, maybe read the web page, but I think for the months that I've stayed in, I haven't contacted anyone outside the company for doing things. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Well, what about you guys in Hong Kong? Do you do any networking as part of your career or your work?
No, I don't. I just focus on trading every day. Yeah, I think maybe part of. Right. I mean, because for now we both are traders, so sometimes I like talk about some like market change with my friend, and he's a broker.
Right.
And yeah, I think like maybe sometimes networking outside the company may help me to do the trader too. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. The let's look at number 3. So some people will say that networking with business contacts is insincere and manipulative. So do you understand this word insincere?
I think it's not
Pure.
It's not really
Yeah,
pure. Not really like you want to talk with someone. You just want to maintain the relationship with
Yeah.
him or her. Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. Since sincere basically means to mean what you say. So if you say something and that's what you feel, that's what you think, that's being sincere. Insincere is the opposite, right? So, and the word manipulative means trying to get somebody to do something that they don't want to do naturally. So do you feel that networking is something that is insincere or potentially manipulative?
Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not.
Right.
Yeah, it depends on your goal.
Motives. Yeah.
Yeah.
Depends on your
It
motive.
depends on what do you want, your purpose.
Okay.
If you like, if you want to have a sign some contract with your clients, or sometimes your communication is not really sincere, and you need to purchase someone like this. Is that purchase means 说服? Persuade.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
I think most networking with business contacts is insincere and manipulative. Yeah, because with business it can, I don't know, even you want to be sincere, and I think maybe many people don't believe it is. I don't know. It's related with money and business. Yeah, everything is complicated.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Everyone agree with that, or any other opinions?
Sure.
Sure. I mean, what about, I mean, you can also network within your own company, because often in companies, you don't work with everybody in the company day to day. There might be company. I mean, sometimes networking is just getting to know the other parts of the company.
Yeah. I think that with this lesson is kind of networking, like to know the other people in Hong Kong. Yeah, because we couldn't travel, and so that's kind of saying like networking. Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually part of the reason for this in some ways, was to connect some people together. Okay, and then we'll just talk about, this is number 4. So online social networking is as useful as face-to-face networking.
Not, yeah.
I don't know. I think face-to-face is more important. Yeah, it's more efficient and more easy. It will be easier to make people to get familiar with each other.
Right.
Yeah. Online, you don't even know what the other people looks like. It may be strange. Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah. What kind of online social networking sites are there for business anyway? I mean, LinkedIn,
Facebook, but their Facebook, they show people's picture, so it means that you know what others look like. Yeah, if they have PS Photoshop, then you don't know. Yeah, I agree. No, I just mean if they have a photo, you know what this person looks like. Yeah. It will be strange.
But if the photo is in photoshopped, then you cannot know what others look like either.
True. There was little Kevin mentioned one that I hadn't heard of it. It's a new clubhouse or chapter house or something like
Oh
that.
yeah, Clubhouse. Yeah. I know that one.
You used it? I had never heard of it before.
I think that sometimes it's quite fun. It's a communication way to communicate with only voice, and it's more like you can presentation with your own idea, and you have a group about it. So yeah, I think it's pretty interesting. I won't say fun, but I would say interesting. Like yeah, you could get into some political issues, and actually I think it's quite free. You can talk freely about it, but of course it's banned in China now.
Yeah, that's totally right.
Yeah.
Actually, last night, LinkedIn announced that they're going to LinkedIn.
Oh, yeah. That's today's news, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all. There's none left. Okay.
So maybe something will quickly replace it. Yeah.
Well, no, there won't be. There are no open discussion platforms here, basically. You know, that's you can get invited into WeChat groups, which are actually kind of good. Some depending on the group, they can be quite good, but it's not open in the same way that something like LinkedIn was, or websites like Reddit or Facebook. That does not exist here. They will never. China doesn't like those, so they don't have. End of story.
It's too hard.
Yeah, it's too hard to monitor, I guess.
Yeah.
So this article is about networking. It's a little bit long, but it's a good article with a lot of good language. So we're going to go through it. So let's read through it, Wolves. So same like the last time we did this. I'll read the first paragraph, and then maybe Jasmine, you can read the second, and Lily the third, and the fourth. And we'll just go through like that to finish. Okay. So it's called "It's Not What You Know." So it is often said that your personal value is not what you know, but who you know. This is powerful motivation for recent graduates to build their personal networks. But some of us may conclude that we already have enough friends and contacts. The challenge is making the best use of those that we already have.
Mathematics supports the argument. If you have been in the business more than 20 years, you're probably have more than 150 close contacts, people you like and respect and would recognize if you bumped into them out of their work context. If you add to this all the people in their close networks, the aggregates to potentially more than 20,000 agreeable and interesting people.
It is not a problem to identify other networking prospects. We all have a drawer full of business cards and often a large number of online connections. The dilemma is how to successfully leverage existing contacts without appearing sleazy and manipulative.
Do you know this word, sleazy?
No.
Sleazy is somebody who, the best definition is their moral quality, their ethical quality is doubtful. You know, they're doing something that you think is probably not good.
Okay.
Yeah, it's often we often use the word associated with things like drugs or prostitution or those sorts of things. Those are sleazy kind of things. Good, James, please.
The most important lesson to learn from the best connected individuals is the little of their networking activity is carried out with any specific business goal in mind. They concentrate their effort on people they most like and who seem to like them back. All right.
Good.
Is
Okay.
that a paragraph?
Yeah, yeah, okay, I'll continue from there. So even for the shyest individual, all that is required to leverage their network is to generate a list of people whose company they enjoy and invite them to a private dinner. This would be apropos of nothing in particular, other than the pleasure of good company. That phrase is a little bit difficult to explain. Apropos. It's apropos of nothing. It's all together. And it means
Apropos.
apropos, yeah, apropos of nothing. And it means not connected to anything, right? So it means that we're saying it's not related to anything except just that you want to have dinner with them. So there's no other motive, no other reason. So unrelated. It's apropos. I don't even know what language it is. I think it's French. Anyway, let's continue.
So me,
Yes.
the toys for engineering mutually successful outcome of such events are very explained by one of the Europe's leading business network strategies at the Lopata.
Yep.
His website explains that connecting is not enough. It is important also to determine how well your contacts understand what you do, and then how inspired they might be to provide a referral.
Yeah, good. Next.
So it's Lopata.
Yeah.
Okay. Lopata provide networking training and is always amazed to discover how few companies have an effective referral strategy. One investment bank merely had a system for asking for 2 referrals at the end of every meeting, regardless of whether they had built up any trust with the client. Lopata says the chances of receiving a referral are greatly increased if they understand exactly what you do and the problems you solve, have a high level of trust, and understand how you help people. Your chances of receiving a referral are increased if you are also perceived to have a wider purpose to your working life.
Good. James.
Lopata recommends making a detailed assessment of your best contacts. The people they know, their willingness to refer you to them, and how you might inspire them to make that introduction for free. While some people offer direct financial rewards for referrals, seasoned network workers mostly make introductions on the basis that everyone gains a benefit, including the prospect of referrals in return.
Good. And I'll finish it. So while high-level networking is primarily a face-to-face activity, Lopata agrees that online tools accelerate the process. Expert networkers work on the basis that if you connect with your network on this mutually beneficial basis, the financial rewards will flow. Successful networking should be selfless and altruistic, giving referrals without remembering your simple favor and receiving them without forgetting their kind gift. So the word selfless, I think you understand. It's kind of the opposite of selfish. Altruistic is basically the same meaning.
Yep.
Okay.
Altruistic means no, you're doing it for the other people with not thinking of your own benefit, just thinking of how it's going to help. So completely good reasons. Okay. So there's a lot of good language in this article, which we'll look at. And the article is generally correct as well. Where there is research on networking, what they generally find is that the most effective networking that people do is when they're networking with no purpose. You know, they go to some kind of industry event, a conference, a meeting, whatever it is, and they just focus on people that they like and that they think are interesting and good at their jobs, with no other reason, without directly trying to do sales, without directly trying to advance their career. You just build up people that are good at their jobs and in interesting areas, and that's kind of generally the most effective networking, they say, because later it might become useful later, but it's better if it's sincere. So from the article, there was an expression that means met someone you know when you were not expecting to. So it's in this paragraph. What expression means met someone you know you were not expecting to?
Bump into them.
Bump into them. Yes, good. If you bump into someone, it means you weren't expecting to, but you did.
Certainly.
In this paragraph, there's an expression that means to develop and use fully.
Leverage existing context.
Yeah, leverage. We make
Leverage.
exactly make full use of it. And then morally doubtful. I already told you this one.
How sleazy.
Sleazy, yeah, exactly. Morally doubtful. Okay, good. Not related to anything previously mentioned.
Oh, that word, that's a propose. A propose.
You're right. So let's just try to say it. So it's actually the whole phrase.
Okay.
Apropos of nothing.
Apropos of nothing.
Yeah, good. Apropos. So,
Apropos. Okay.
apropos of nothing. This is an easy one. When you recommend someone to work to another person for work.
Or referral.
Referral.
Moving, number 6, number 7 should come. Yeah. Moving from one place to another in large amounts.
Flow.
Yeah, exactly, flow. And two things that mean caring about other people more than about yourself.
All the 2 words you just talked about, selfless and
altruistic.
That's right. That's exactly right. Altruistic. Yeah, good. Okay. So another thing we see a lot in this article is a lot of use of adverbs, and adverbs have a lot. They can go many places in a sentence. So if we say this one, if we look at this sentence, we have enough friends and contacts, and then we want to add the adverb already. Where can we put that adverb in this sentence?
We have already.
We already have.
Yeah, there's actually 2 places in there.
The last place, we have enough friends and contacts already.
Yeah, and both are correct. We already have enough friends and contacts. We have enough friends and contacts already. Good. Great. So maybe number 2. You have more than. All right, James, do you want to try this one?
Yeah, you have probably more than 150 close contacts. So after the have.
This one has 3 places.
3 places. You probably have. You have probably. I think that before and after have is all right.
Actually, you're probably right about that too. Actually, so maybe 4. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Oh,
So I find one more.
Yeah, one more, sure. Okay. Lily, do you want to try this one?
okay.
This one has two. At least.
Okay, the dilemma is how to leverage existing context successfully.
Good.
The dilemma is how to successfully leverage existing context.
Good. Yeah.
So, successfully, can I put it after leverage?
It's how to leverage successfully existing context. Yeah, I mean, it's understandable. Like, you know, people
That's
would
just
understand
weird,
it.
right?
It's just
Leverage successful existing concept.
Okay.
that would be like, I think in speaking, if somebody did that when they were speaking, it kind of says that they are, you know, they're adding the word, you know, they didn't, as, you know, they're sort of thinking as they're talking and they didn't think of that word in time, which is fine. But certainly in writing, you would want to put it
Before leverage, right?
in these
Okay.
two.
Okay.
Jasmine, please. This one has at least three.
It's also important to determine how will your context understand what you do.
Good.
Uh, Also, it is important to determine how well your context understand what you do.
Actually, yeah, so there's four. That's right, I think. Yeah. You're right. I think it can go in the front as well. Also is important. And I think there's a difference when if you put it in the front or if you put it before important or after important, that is saying that you should additionally do this thing. But when we put it after contacts, how well your contacts also understand what you do, that's kind of like saying that you understand what your contacts do, but it's important that they also understand what you do. It's kind of a different meaning in some ways. So. All right, James, merely. This one has at least three.
One investment bank merely I think it's going to talking about the two referrals. So one investing bank had a system for asking for merely two referrals.
Sure.
And if you're talking about the two referrals, you'll put it at the back. And if you're talking about the investment bank, you'll put it at the front. Merely one investment bank had a system for asking for two referrals.
Sure. Yeah, I think you've got exactly the right idea. And I think when the two merely's in the middle, one investment bank merely had a system, or one investment bank had a system for merely asking, that's talking about the system. That they just had this like very simple system. When we put it before referrals, we're saying that we're talking about not the system, but how many referrals, like as in they should be asking for 5 referrals or 10 referrals. When you put it at the front, you're saying that the only one bank, all the other banks have different ones, but only this one. So. Lily, please. The chances of receiving a referral will increase if you understand what you do. This is just one place.
Oh, okay. The chances of receiving a referral are increased if they if they exactly understand what you do. If they after they understand. Okay.
Understand exactly if they exactly understand what you do. Yeah, again, it's understandable, but it's a little bit weird. It's a bit better to come after. The same thing if you put it at the end of the sentence, it's still again understandable, but it's more like you thought of that word at the very end. Jasmine, please. This one has at least 2.
High level networking is a primary, no, highlights high level primary networking is a face-to-face activity.
I think in this case, you should look at high level networking as a noun phrase. So it's kind of like one, wouldn't want to do that, like it's basically like one term.
So high level networking is a primarily face-to-face activity.
I think that's okay. I would usually you'd put it before the article is primarily a face-to-face activity, or is a face-to-face activity primarily? But I think that's okay. Is primarily still.
Can I put it can put it before the sentence?
No, in this case, no. That wouldn't give you the right meaning. Primarily high-level networking. That's like saying like that. In that case, you're modifying high level. So like
how about like this? Primarily commerce.
Primarily high-level networking is no, you really shouldn't in this case.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're trying to use that as you're not really using it as an adverb. You're using primarily there as a kind of a different function. Whereas what we're trying to do is modify another term in the sentence, like so that we want to say that it's mostly a face-to-face activity, or right rather than So it should go at the front.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll just do this last one really quickly. So mutually is just one. If you connect with your network on this mutually beneficial basis, the financial rewards will flow. Okay. So that's that. So we were talking about presentations and networking, and I asked you guys, I'm going to skip over this article for now, and we talked about you guys having a 2-minute presentation. So you didn't have to, but I asked you to think about it. So what you need to do is to talk for 2 minutes. I have a timer, so we'll keep track of your time. And while your classmates are talking, while your colleagues are talking, I'd like you to think about what they're doing that's positive, and then maybe think about something they're doing that might be a little bit distracting. And I think, James, you can go first.
Yeah, I have prepared some notes. Yeah.
That's right. Excellent. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right, let's start. Passion of mine. I like to travel. This passion was developed around my final years of my university. At that time, I kind of burned out for my internship at the time in IBM. And after a whole week of fighting through the hardship of coding, the clients, and everything that's going on of the project, I really enjoy hop on my motorcycle and enjoy the details of the scenery. And right after I finished that internship, I rode my bicycle from Taipei around the East Coast to go back to my home, Kaohsiung. So I ride around Hualien, Taidong, and Pingdong. That's the place that I really enjoy for the sea and the scenery. And the magnificent view of the mountain, which connects just the cliff and the sea, all about it. I think that I really enjoy about it. Yeah. And just by riding through, I feel that I learned something important about my life through that journey. Yeah, so about 30 seconds.
Okay, that's okay. That's kind of a natural ending. It was 90, about 95 seconds, but that's still pretty good.
Yeah.
So, Jasmine, Lily, do you have any comments? Anything you'd like to say?
So I just want to ask a question. You said that you understand some important thing in your life.
Yeah, I think that
I'm waiting for your
my punchline.
for your next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand. I think that I understand your questions, but I didn't have the answer to this question because I think that it's something that comes from the heart instead of words. It's something that you really need to go through the journey to think that you learn something. But I'm not sure the feeling. It's more like if you really need to use the word to talk about, you will think that you are so small that your concerns is not really important to this world. I think that's quite the wording of it. Yeah.
Very well said. Yeah. Okay. Anything else you guys would like to add?
So you So you went the travel by yourself?
Yeah. I went to the journey about 4 days. So I stopped. Have you seen the Taiwan's map? Perhaps.
Yeah.
So from Taipei, and you go around the East Coast, Yilan, and go. I stopped at Yilan for 1 night, and Hualien and Taitung, and come back to Kaohsiung, around the bottom of the Taiwan, and go to my home, Kaohsiung. That's pretty much it.
Wow.
One thing you did really well when you were talking, which has to do with the logic or the structure of a speech, or when we give a speech, is there's something that we call discourse markers. So a discourse marker is something a little bit like grammar, but we use them to connect paragraphs or to connect ideas together. And so when you were talking, it was mainly kind of what's the word? You were talking in a kind of time sequence, like you finished school and your internship, and then this happened, and then this happened. You used phrases like at that time, right after, even some simple ones like so, just by, and that added a nice logical structure that helped connect the ideas together, that made it easier to follow what you were saying. I thought that was very positive.
Thank you. And perhaps anything that I can improve?
You needed 30 more seconds.
Yeah, I didn't prepare that one. Yeah.
But it's okay. No, I don't think there was anything really.
Okay, thank you.
Who's next? Who would like to go next? Lily or Jasmine? Okay.
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
If I talk about the special occasion, I mean that you wrote 3 important moments. I'm not sure. Do I need to talk about 3 important moments, or?
These are 6 separate ideas. So especially.
Oh, okay.
There's no real rule here. These are just kind of general. Mainly a prompt to keep talking for 2 minutes. So I think you just volunteered to go next. So that's good.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I want to talk about my graduation ceremony.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So it's actually I waited for the ceremony for around a year after my graduation. Yeah, at that time I was studying in Hong Kong U. I was actually graduated in early 2018, but the ceremony was held in December 2018. Yeah, and I thought I would be very calm, and I would not care too much about it because it's really waited too long. But actually, at that day, I was very excited. Many of my classmates who also graduated from at the same time, we got together in the hall. I mean, in the hall in Hong Kong U, and also my parents and some of my close friends also, they came to my graduation ceremony. And during the ceremony, all the graduated students queued in line, and they and one by one we stepped into the stage, and the principal will the principal patted on my head, and then told me congratulations. Yeah, and then I can left the stage. Yeah, it's very short time, maybe just several seconds, but I was really nervous, and it's I think it's very honorable to have this ceremony. Yeah, it means I have truly really become a PhD. Yeah, not just that I got a simple letter that told you that you have your PhD degree. Yeah, but you should finish the ceremony, that you actually get the honor. Yeah.
Great.
Yes. So it is really memorable. Yeah. Yeah, and a pleasant occasion. Yeah. So what? How many time?
That's
Do I need
3
to
minutes.
say more?
That was 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's okay. Okay. So, any comments? Sure.
How many years do the PhD last? I'm pretty curious about this.
4 years.
4 years. Wow, that's been a long time. Yeah.
Yes, very long time. It's a difficult time. Yeah.
For the thesis, or is your boss that is nagging about it?
I think if you want to do a research in a certain topic, it's really it's not a very easy thing. You need to dig deep into it and think of some new things. You must be creative to think of something that no one else have ever published on it. Yeah.
I see.
I think this is the most difficult part. Yeah. My supervisor is actually very good. Yeah.
Right.
She gave me lots of guidance. Yeah.
Do you need to publish some paper in some magazine?
Yes, of course, it's requirement for graduation.
Yeah.
You said pat you on the head, like
Yeah. The principal will pat you on the head and told you congratulations.
It's like this, or just to like move the how to say move the.
He didn't use his head. He has the hat of a PhD, the PhD hat.
sure, it's got a mortarboard. Actually, it's got a weird name.
It's more like it's the thing that it's the thing and put it on your head?
No. He has one, and he had one for himself, and he
Yeah.
will use the hat to pat on your head.
I
Ah,
see. Okay.
Yeah, you have your own one. Yeah.
yeah, I see.
Makes sense, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Because like, I was wondering if it was maybe a cultural thing, because like a hat like this is pretty rude. I mean,
Oh, sorry.
Like I said.
So use the hat.
Yes,
to
use
pat
the
your head.
yes.
Oh,
Use
I-
the
hat.
if you can see this word, the hat has a very specific name. It's called a mortarboard.
multiple. Oh, okay.
I have no idea why. It's a very strange name, but I
Yeah.
that was good. The as far as the speech, the content of your speech, the quality of your speech, one thing you did very well was your what we call modulation. So modulation is making your voice sort of high and low, loud and soft, and that really helps keep the listeners more interested. So at one point you used you said the ceremony was held in I forget
In a hole.
but you did this nice. You were saying when you were saying that the ceremony was held because it was held a few
Yes. Yeah.
the end
It's
of-
on December. Yeah.
and you put a nice in this example you put a nice stress on held because you were trying to communicate to us that it was it was held like later than you might have expected, and that's a nice sort of quality I think to speaking that helps keep people more interested.
Thank you.
So just one more to go.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to talk about like my ideal weekend.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, my ideal weekend is a weekend without any plan. Like you can do whatever you like in home or go outside. You can like, for example, you can go to shopping. Like how to say this? Like when the idea go into your mind, you can just decided to go outside without any to like consider about other thing. Yeah, and I just want to like describe my last weekend because it's a really like for me it's an ideal weekend. I wake up like at 7 a.m. and then like learn about the farm certification, so farm level 2 certification. Yeah, because I need to do the exam in December. So I need to like learn about it in weekend. After this learning, and I do the laundry, and after that I go out and shopping. Actually, this is my favorite part in the weekend, doing shopping. And then like go back and go to the market, buy some fruit and vegetable, and prepare like dinner for myself. Like the thing is that you don't have a lot of worried. No, not worried. You can like live without any pressure because there's no plan. You don't have to push yourself to do something. You just like because suddenly I want to do something, then I should do it. So yeah, for me this is my like ideal weekend without any plan, without any like urgent thing. You don't need to like deal with some urgent thing, and everything you do is just because you want to do. Yeah, that's all about my weekend.
That's good. 2:26, 2 minutes 26 seconds. Okay, any comments about the ideal weekend?
So you need to study for your ideal weekend.
Yeah, it's not like I push myself to study, just like about 2 hours study. Like it's, yeah, because when I feel, oh, I'm tired, I don't like this study content, then I stop it, do other thing.
But
Yeah,
did you say studying for farm?
Farm,
FRM.
FRM.
FRM, I see, okay.
Yeah,
Not like
certification.
not a farm, not like,
It's how to say it. It's
I'm not sure what is that?
financial risk management.
Ah, I see, okay, that makes sense.
Uh,
I don't know how you say it, because I mean, I thought you meant farm, like.
farm. No,
cow.
not that farm. Yeah, it's a kind of like certification.
Yeah, okay, risk management certificate, yeah, okay, fair enough.
I think it's ideal life also.
Life.
Not just the ideal weekend.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
In like weekdays, you actually like our job is under
Yeah,
you really
very big
heavy
pressure.
pressure. Yeah,
Sure.
you sometimes you have to really push yourself to think quickly and do something quickly. But yeah.
So just relax and have anything that you want and just do it.
Yeah. It's a really like follow your mind, follow your feeling. Like it's a really nice for me.
So compared to the other two, what you were talking about was less of a narrative. So you weren't really describing a sequence of time as your main thing, and what you did in the organization of your speaking, which I liked, was you started with a very general description of this is a general description of your ideal weekend. Then you gave a specific example describing your last weekend. And then you kind of summarized it to say what's so good about that kind of weekend. And I think that's a really good way to organize that kind of talk, basically like a non-narrative style talk. So I thought you did that very well.
I'm thinking what I'm doing is like a casual chat, like chat with my best friends, closest friend. I'm using this way, but not really like serious presentation. It's not that way. I think.
Yeah, I mean that's what the way you answered is kind of if you ever do, if you know anybody who does training on how to handle a job interview. That's kind of how they train you to answer questions. This sort of like general specific summaries is a good way to answer questions in an interview. So you gave that kind of interview style answer, which I thought was good. Because normally friends will interrupt you before you get to 2 minutes, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Well, we're basically out of time, which is fine, but I'm glad we got to do this. That was really good. And so next time I'll try to add a little more complexity and pressure to asking you guys to speak. So we'll pick this up next week, talk a bit more about networking. So one of the things that we're doing on the homework side is, and again, this is only if you need it, but we're going to be every second class. So like this Friday class, the homework will involve some writing, some kind of writing assignment. Writing is an important skill, but you can only really improve your writing by actually writing something. So there is a writing assignment in the online portal. And if English writing is something that you would like to improve, then you can do this writing and send it to me. There's 2 email addresses. Maybe send it to me instead of Matthew. Matthew's the other teacher. And I will give you corrections and feedback, and we'll handle writing sort of that way. But there's really no other way to improve writing. If you don't feel writing something you need to do, then it's okay if you don't do it. There's no requirement there. But a couple of people have asked for it, so we're going to do it this way.
Sure.
Right.
I'm looking forward.
Okay. So thank you very much for your time today. Hope you have a good weekend.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you.
Thank you,
Andrew.
Andrew.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.